What up, everybody? Welcome to a special post-trade deadline edition.
At this point, LeBron's status as an icon of the NBA is pretty much unquestionable. We can argue all we want about the man being the GOAT, but you can't possibly say he hasn't made the game better in different regards. I mean, think about it. He's the NBA scoring king, he's a four-time champion, and his Lakers just won the first edition of the NBA's in-season tournament, with him once again being the standout player and willing the Lakers to the top of the mountain. All at the age of 39. If that's not GOAT-level play, I really don't know what is. Now, we could sit here all day and talk about LeBron and how he's redefined what it means to be an elite athlete, but like many others who have a claim to the GOAT title, LeBron didn't become the man he is today on his own. His success relied on several carefully crafted moves, all of which included moving players around to form the supporting structure that he needed. And for a player like LeBron, trades are no joke. I mean, there's a reason why many people call him LeGM. In this video, we'll be taking a look at some of the most iconic and shrewdest trade deadline moves that made all the difference for the teams LeBron has been on throughout his career. 2010, Bron to the Heat. To be fair, whenever LeBron makes a move to any team, it's massive news. Ever since this man got into the league, he put everyone on notice, and with each move, it's been one insane row of headlines after another. Still, I personally don't think that there's a single trade involving LeBron that's been as impactful as his trade to the Miami Heat. This trade was notable for several reasons. First, LeBron had already proven himself to be a bona fide star, even though the Cavs, who drafted him, never really put anyone notable around him. Despite this, LeBron willed the entire team to their first ever NBA Finals in 2007, although they got shellacked by the Tim Duncan-led Spurs. After that devastating finals appearance, it became obvious that LeBron needed some help getting to the promised land. Still, nothing really worked. And after waiting for 2 more years, LeBron decided that it was time to move. With the 2010 free agency class being incredibly stacked, LeBron had teams salivating for him. It was pretty much a 6-horse race, with teams like the Bulls, the Knicks, and the Heat all vying for his signature. In a nationally televised segment on ESPN, LeBron confirmed that he'd be taking his talents to South Beach, teaming up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to form the first modern-era Big Three.
How many people know your decision right now?
Not many.
The Miami Heat won 2 titles with LeBron as their undisputed leader, and while some would say that they didn't quite meet the expectations, considering the quality on the team, 3 rings are definitely not to be trifled with. 2014, LeBron to the Cavs. Following 4 eventful years in Miami, LeBron decided that it was time to head back to his hometown. In 2014's free agency class, he was traded to the Cavs, reuniting with his roots and promising to bring the team its first ever title. That said, the Cavs also made a few other deals, but none of them really made a difference. The only notable names were the signing of Joe Harris and the drafting of Andrew Wiggins, but they didn't quite pan out. Harris did grow to become a decent shooter, but his time in Cleveland was forgettable at best. And as for Wiggs, well, let's say that his rookie season in Cleveland was terrible. Just 2 months after being drafted first overall, Wiggs was shipped off to Minnesota. Still, you can never count out the king. With much help from a blossoming Kyrie Irving, LeBron dragged the Cavs to the finals again, although once more it was a loss. The Golden State Warriors, with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson shooting the lights out and birthing the three-point revolution, were too much for the Cavs to handle. 2015, redemption at last. Following the loss to the Warriors, the Cavs were pretty much encouraged to just go back to the drawing board and rejigger their roster. They knew they had the right stuff, with LeBron and Kyrie acting as the engines of the team. Now all they needed to do was get these guys some help, and they could make a decent run. And that was exactly what they did. After locking up LeBron to a multi-year contract, the team also locked the services of J.R. Smith and Richard Jefferson, while also bringing in Matthew Dellavedova, Iman Shumpert, and Kevin Love. And to be fair, all of these players were incredibly impactful. Dellavedova was a decent defensive force, and Shumpert also had proven to be a pretty solid role player in his time with the Knicks. Plus, in JR and Kevin Love, the Cavs finally had the shooting threats they always wanted. Kyrie and LeBron could dictate the game and take over whenever they needed to, and they also now had a group of actual shooters who could put impressive numbers to back up their scoring. With this retooled squad, it was no wonder the new-look Cavs steamed through the Eastern Conference playoffs. They swept both the first and second rounds before dispatching the Celtics 4-2 in the conference finals. And when the finals did come, it was once again a matchup against the Warriors. Steph had his unanimous MVP season, and the Warriors looked like they were all set to win. But LeBron wasn't having it, and despite being down 3-1, the Cavs rallied back to win it all, making history. 2016, keeping it steady. With their historic season now in the books, the Cavs didn't really see a need to make any major moves. They basically kept the roster together, although Dellavedova got traded to the Bucks and brought in Darren Williams at the February trade deadline. And to be fair, it didn't hurt the team at all. The Cavs steamrolled through the Eastern Conference playoffs once again, losing only one game to the Celtics in the finals. But their finals run this time would not be so rosy. The Cavs met the Warriors for the third time in a row, and the boys in Golden State had themselves a season to remember as they added Kevin Durant to an already packed roster. This finals would be a painful one to watch if you were a Cavs fan, because the Warriors trounced the team 4-1, banishing the demons of the 2016 finals once and for all. 2017, blow it all up. Now, once again, it was time to go back to the drawing board, and this time the Cavs went swinging. They traded a disgruntled Kyrie to the Celtics in exchange for Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and a couple of other complimentary pieces and picks. The plan here was for IT, who had a breakout year the previous season for the Celtics, to essentially slot in for Kyrie. And to help, the Cavs also brought in a bunch of old guys. Derrick Rose, Kyle Korver, Dwayne Wade, and even Kendrick Perkins to help fill their roster spot. If anything, maybe these guys could have some more juice in the tank. But they did not. The moment the 2017 season began, it was dysfunction like no other. The Cavs never seemed to gel, and IT himself wasn't quite as impressive as the team would have hoped. This was when Bron was at his most ruthless. At the February deadline, LeBron and the Cavs cleaned out house. They sent Jay Crowder, Derrick Rose, and a 2024 second-round pick to the Jazz, sent Iman Shumpert to the Kings, and sent Channing Frye and Isaiah Thomas to the Lakers. Wade was not spared either. He was sent back to the Heat for a second-round pick, showing just how ruthless LeBron was here. In exchange for this haul, the Cavs got Larry Nance Jr. and Jordan Clarkson from the Lakers, George Hill, and a bunch of other role players and picks, and at this point, the Cavs were pretty much the LeBron show. In many ways, this was hard to watch. The Cavs would finish fourth in the East, and they hobbled through the playoffs on their way to yet another finals berth against the Warriors. This time, there was no competition. The Warriors, still with the Steph, Clay, KD trifecta, absolutely blew the Cavs out of the water, sweeping them easily. 2019, the King gives a helping hand. After that embarrassing loss to the Warriors, it was curtains for LeBron in Cleveland. Everyone knew it, and a few weeks later, he announced that he'd be heading to sunny Los Angeles to join the Lakers. The first year for LeBron and the Lakers wasn't fun in any way. He was pretty much on his own, left to play with the youngins like a rookie Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, and Brandon Ingram. And at that stage of his career, you could imagine the King was not in the mood for mentoring anyone. He wanted to win, and he wanted to win now. After failing to even make the playoffs the first year, the Lakers swung heavy in the second. In the 2019 offseason, they signed Anthony Davis from the New Orleans Pelicans, pretty much sending their entire roster the other way, save for Kuzma, Alex Caruso, and a few other role players. The decision paid off, though. The Anthony Davis and LeBron connection was elite, and they managed to get their Larry O'Brien trophy in the 2020 season. Now, some might want to put an asterisk on this win because it was done in the NBA bubble, but come on, a win is a win, and you can't take that away from them. LeBron James has easily had arguably the greatest career of any American athlete, and in the year 2022, as a 39-year-old no less, the man was still going strong. Through shrewd trades and the sheer force of will, he's managed to rack up 4 rings and an ever-growing resume. Does he have enough to get ring number 5? Will he need to make any more shrewd moves to get it? I suppose that only time will tell.